Well, somehow, somewhere, the Bears hang on to win over the Steelers. 31-28 is your final score. This is After the Whistle. Tina Nguyen, ESPN Radio's Pat the Designer, and former Bears QB Jim Miller joining us on here via Zoom. Jim, we got you? Maybe, yes. Oh, there we go.
There he is.
Well, guys, the Bears have now won 4 straight, their second 4-game winning streak this season. Listen, the offense showed up today. The defense, though, shorthanded without 5 of their starters. We got to give some credit to Dennis Allen, but this one was such a huge win today. Pat, you said this was a coaching win, man.
100%. Listen, this was a great game for the Bears in totality, all the way around. Special teams still some question marks, but I think you got it done when you needed to, when you were called upon. But the big takeaway from this game is in a game where you start off, I believe, 5 starters out on the defensive side to start this game off. You lose a couple more guys throughout. Versus a Steelers team that offensively was able to move the ball a good chunk there in the first half. I thought in the second half, you really locked everything down. You made those passing lanes a lot tighter for Mason Rudolph. You made things a lot tougher in the run game. And that's while still losing people throughout the game. You lose 3 more guys throughout the game. I love what we saw today from a Dennis Allen-inspired defense. I thought that it truly was the epitome of a coaching win where he called the right plays and just needed guys to play it the right way.
Yeah, Bears losing bodies. We may need you to suit up at some point in the season, Pat. But, Jim, I mean, Bears are now 8-3 on the season. Can you believe it?
Well, yeah, I can. I think they're going to get some legitimacy because they beat a team with a winning record. That's what everybody was saying. Oh, the Bears haven't played anybody. Look at the records of the teams they played. The Steelers were coming here. They were in the lead in the AFC North. Now, whether you think Baltimore is going to go on the march or not, it doesn't matter. The Steelers were still there. They had a winning record, and the Bears had to take care of business. I agree with Pat. That third quarter, the Bears kind of put the screws down defensively. You know, I think it was that second quarter, the Steelers go on that 13-play drive. It was like 95 yards, and they were able to cash in. Here, Dennis Allen, he makes some adjustments. Then they start to put the screws down. And I think the Bears kind of took control of the game. And, you know, good for them. I think, again, they're scoring a lot of points. They're really humming now offensively where they need to be, in my opinion. And we'll see what the rest of the season holds. But now they'll face some teams with the winning record, and they got it done today against some team. And so they will be now considered legitimate because I think everybody thought it was a rocky schedule that they're playing. Nothing they could do about it. They just got to take care of business with what they're the rest of the way.
You talk about the Bears offense really humming now. Caleb Williams, 3-touchdown day. DJ Moore, 2-touchdown day for him as well. But, I mean, Jim, it was a disastrous first half for this team. What adjustments did you see in the second half? We'll start on the offense with Ben Johnson.
Well, I just think when he continues to run the ball, they finished with 25 carries today. They were 7 of 13, I think, on third down conversions, which is good. You want to be over about 40% on third down conversions. And I think Caleb is just much better managing games. I mean, he realistically, when he had the strip sack fumble by T.J. Watt, and I forget who recovered it. Herbig, I think, recovered it for a touchdown. It's easy to go in the tank as a quarterback. Yeah. He didn't. You don't see Caleb doing that now. You know, he keeps his emotions to himself. He composes himself, and he's just going out there, focus on the task at hand. And I thought from that point on, he just really started to focus in. I thought early in the game he missed some throws, in my opinion. May have missed an in-cut to Odunze late in the game. But after that, like the seam route to DJ Moore, great throw. You know, the slant route to Loveland for a touchdown, great throw. When he settles into, to just play to the comfort level of the game and just focus on that, I think he's playing extremely well. He's playing at a high level. Turnovers are going to happen. It happened to him, and unfortunately for the Bears, they had back-to-back turnovers there. I think the Swift fumble, happened right after that, but they were able to overcome that when maybe before that would have really frazzled them and affected them for 3 or 4 other series. That wasn't the case today.
Want to remind everyone that is tuning in, especially on YouTube, to leave a comment. We will read your comments throughout the show here. Pat, you know, what a difference a year makes, because if you think about where this team was last year, right? fired Shane Waldron. Matt Eberflus fired shortly after that. Caleb Williams has gone through multiple offensive corners, but this season, I mean, especially with the Ben Johnson pairing, we're continuing to see growth with him.
No, 100%. It's why I said coming in a couple weeks ago, once we started to see this team get rolling, and no matter what the circumstances thrown at them, they found ways to win the game. I said Ben Johnson's one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach we've had here in a Chicago Bears Hallis Hall. Like, when you look at how this team is prepared for these games when you're banged up, that's the true test of, okay, what is a team really? How many times have we seen a championship level team come into a building and they go, they're too beat up to win this game, and they still find a way to win? That's what good football teams do. This was a win today that, to me, is just another stamp on the Ben Johnson report card of A+, because you had this team ready to go offensively. You knew you were going to have to score a lot of points because of how banged up your defense was. But on top of that, your offense got itself rolling to the point where now Dennis Allen can call this defense to be a little bit more aggressive because you're playing with a lead. I truly feel like when you look at the culture change from this year to last year, and Jim brings up a great point when you look at the back-to-back turnovers, a turnover in the end zone that ends up becoming a touchdown, and then a fumble on DeAndre Swift. That's where you've seen teams, the Bears teams in the past, absolutely just go, here we go again. We're gonna lose to a team that we should beat. That wasn't the case today. In fact, you saw a team that almost was like, all right, we got to get our stuff together because we know that we're going to be able to win this game. We just have to give ourselves the best opportunity. I thought coming back down off of that in the second half where you see the big DJ Moore touchdown there, like those are the things where you look at this team and you say, this is a different mindset in the building. It's not just you've got different talent or different players or a different level of top-tier talent. For the most part, it's a lot of the players you had on this team last season. But the mindset and the belief that they have behind this coaching staff right now, I love it. And you're seeing it in every single play that they put out there on the field.
Yeah, DJ Moore today, 5 catches, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. Colston Loveland got a touchdown too. Kyle Monungai, I mean, Jim, there's playmakers on this offense, and it's incredible to see, I mean, Ben Johnson 11 games into his the season here, what he's done offensively to turn things around.
Yeah, definitely in the mix what Pat mentioned for Coach of the Year with what he's done, especially offensively. I'd say the last 5 games, what they've really done on offense, because they're starting to dictate. You know, they can start to dictate some things on offense with their play action pass game. You know, coming into this game, they were second in the NFL in running the football. And when you can do that, you can dictate a lot of things. Their play action pass game is incredible right now. They probably left a little bit of offense out there. As I mentioned, you know, the dig cut miss by Caleb earlier, but they're executing at a very high level, and that's why they're coming in graded so high offensively the second half year. And when you can do that, you can dictate a lot of things. It causes conflict of interest defensively. And I think, again, even with guys who have had to step in today, like give the thumbs up to Ozzie Trapillo. Yeah. I mean, did you really hear a peep out of the left tackle spot today? Not to mention what Pat mentioned on the defensive side of the ball. Guys like Elijah Hicks coming in playing well. Guys like Douglas, the backup linebacker, coming in and having to do some things. But it's because they're able to dictate some things, play with the lead. Like I said, that allows Dennis Allen some flexibility, and they had to do that. Their offense really had to take control this year for all the things we've discussed earlier about one of the highest point totals in the league in the NFC North. What was the score of the Green Bay game today? What was the score of the Lions game today? I think the Lions are over 34. Yeah. So the Bears got to be able to score points, and they definitely got to score points, continue to score points down the stretch here against these good teams they're going to be facing.
You mentioned Ozzie Trapillo having to step in. I believe Luke Newman as well stepped in for Jonah Jackson, who left the game. I mean, Ben Johnson said going into this game, right, this Bears offense were very aware of the werewolves that are on the outside of that Steelers D-line. How did you see the offensive line handle the Steelers pass rush today?
Yeah, I thought, you know, for TJ Watt, other than the one play, obviously, TJ Watt's going to get his own. But they were pretty quiet, you know. But again, that's where I credit the play action game, because the Bears are so good at running the football. That play action game is going to cause a little bit of hesitation. Plus, it allows the linemen to somewhat fire off to make it look like it's a run play, but yet they're going to settle into their pass blocking scheme. So it causes some indecision among the defensive line. So they've got to respect that, because if the Bears were just to line up and run it every down and they're trying to pass rush, they're going to get pushed on their heels and on their roller skates getting pushed back. So even great pass rushers like today, TJ Watt, he had to respect it. He's mixing it up. They're doing some things, double reverses to keep them on their toes. We saw that in the game today, but the play action pass really allows that to happen, in my opinion. And of course, the tight end sets, and he's calling a beautiful game right now, and Caleb's really executing at a high level right now. And I like how they're taking control of games. They're taking control and they're dictating things when previously they were scrambling, and I think we always saw them scrambling. It was like a fire drill out there. There's no scrambling right now. They're in control of what they're doing.
No, 100%. I thought it was going to be a massive battle of the trenches, and it was. And for once, the Bears, I love how you said it, dictating policy. They're dictating policy in the trenches. T.J. Watt's going to get his wins. There's nothing you can do about it. He's one of the greatest pass rushers that has ever been in the NFL. He's going to beat you at times. Unfortunately, he beats you in the end zone, and it results in a touchdown. But overall today, when you look at this offensive line, when you look at guys stepping in on the interior, seeing Luke Nguyen step in that moment, I thought that, you truly saw that next man up mentality of, I just got to go out here and the moment's not too big. We are prepared for this, but I need to do my job. And on top of that, then you see Luke Nguyen down the field leading big blocks for runs and leading blocks, like for receivers to make some extra moves there. Like, to me, I love seeing these guys be able to go out there and finally dictate policy in the trenches. I thought it was so interesting. We heard Ben Johnson, I think, a couple of weeks ago. He said he likes to watch essentially the TV view of the game because he wants to see, are we winning the line of scrimmage? That's so incredibly important. You've created running lanes for this running game. You're making that more dangerous. That's going to benefit you in weeks moving forward here. That's going to be monumental for you versus the Green Bay Packers, who have Micah Parsons. If he wants to rush you, you got to run the football right at him and make him think about it before he gets after you. That's going to be a big benefit when you go up against Aiden Hutchinson. So, to me, seeing how this Bears team has been able to dictate policy in the trenches is the part that I'm most excited about. And even on the defensive side, with what Montez did today, you got to give credit to him. Yet again, 2-sack day, get all over the quarterback and creating pressure all over the place.
Want to read our first viewer comment right now from Brandon Green 1166. What a difference good coaching makes. Dennis Allen adjusted, Ben Johnson adjusted. And overall today with this defense, 5 starters out, right? And then you lose 2 more guys. You lost a whole level of the defense coming in. Tremaine Edmonds now on IR. TJ Edwards is out. Noah Sewell, Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon as well. Ruben Hippolyte, Amen Ogbongbemiga. They had to use Carl Jones Jr. here. Jim, I'll start with you on this question, but how much credit? We got to give DA a ton of credit here for the adjustments he's happened to make, rotating guys in and out.
Yeah, I personally, I got to give Nashawn Wright a lot of credit.
Yes.
He is a big corner that I think, can struggle in a foot race. But today, early in the game, he gets that interception. Again, we talked about how Dennis likes the taller corners. He's a legit 6'4" corner, goes up and makes that play. A couple of times the Steelers missed some go route opportunities because Dennis Allen is really challenging offenses. Like, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us deep. And they have yet to get beat deep. And so they're constantly challenging the opponents. But like I said, the players they've rotated in, like Elijah Hicks, he came in today. He made a couple of big plays, and guys truly are stepping up. And especially today, I was concerned about the linebackers because you figure I think the Steelers have probably some of the better tight ends in the league when you look at Freiermuth, just the depth of the Steelers tight ends with Freiermuth in Washington and even Connor Hayward out of Michigan State. They've got a good group of tight ends, and for the most part, those backup linebackers kept them pretty silent. Freiermuth did have a touchdown in the game, but it was all just dink and dunk stuff. It was nothing down the field, seam routes, nothing like that really the Bears gave up huge chunks of yardage. So I think that's Dennis Allen's disguises. I think it's periodically him mixing in some key blitzes because he has that flexibility again because the Bears are playing with the lead. And those guys are really doing a good job. They're doing yeoman's work, and everybody has stepped in and really grabbed an oar, and everybody has rowed, and they've done it as a unit together.
A lot of momentum shifts in this game. If you're just tuning in to After the Whistle, Tina Nguyen, Pat the Designer, former Bears QB Jim Miller joining you as well. Bears win their 4th straight game. They beat the Steelers with no Aaron Rodgers, by the way, 31-28. Let's talk more about Nahshon Wright because the Bears signed him back in April on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
This was someone in Minnesota on the practice squad. I remember when I talked to him in the locker room for a while, he told me how much Al Harris means to him, right? This is someone who's really kind of revived his career again. 5 interceptions on the season, tying Kevin Byard. He's been impressive, man.
No, 100%. And I love how, when we talked to Al Harris, one of the big things that he said was if you play the system, not the man, you're going to be fine out here. Those takeaway opportunities are going to be there for you. We've seen that. The Bears now have 3 of the top takeaway guys in football right now. What I love about it for Nahshon Wright is you see a player who can be incredibly cerebral. There's so many times, and sometimes when he gambles, he does get beat. I think, like Jim said as well, sometimes when you're in a foot race, right, he doesn't have some of the agility to keep up with some of these guys, mostly just T. Higgins. That's really the one game that we look at, and we go, that's the big problem. But to me, what I see from Nahshon Wright time and time again is a player who knows where the quarterback wants to go to the ball, sometimes maybe is a little late breaking on it, but usually is in good position for the tackle, and a player where if I get there before you, I'm going to come away with this football. Those are the kind of things that when you see the length that he has as a DB, he gives you that in the pass breakup game, but also can be cerebral enough to take that football away and have it go in the other direction. Like that's something that you can see a future where, oh my God, what if we have Jalen Johnson back at the end of this season? What if we do bring back Kyler Gordon at the end of this season? And it seems like those are good situations you're in right now. We've also got Garner Johnson. You've got Brisker who's gotten in on it. You've gotten Byard who's back in on it. Like, I know we're not at the dog segment here, but there's some dogs on this team that are behind the fence waiting to get out.
Jim, before we wrap up our first block here on After the Whistle, I mean, when you look at the defense and the injuries that they are dealing with, I know we're expecting to get Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson back in the coming weeks here, but how concerned are you, especially with all these injuries at the linebacker position?
Well, you do get concerned at the linebacker spot because who's the green dot? Who's the guy calling the plays?
Yeah.
Typically, that was going to be Edwards. And if you remember in the preseason, they were actually swapping. Dennis Allen they would put Edmonds at will and they'd put TJ at Mike just in case something like this happened. But the green dot, who's the one calling out the adjustments? Whether the defensive line's got to shift, they call out the coverage, they call out the defensive front, what the backers are going to do. So who's communicating to them? Now that those guys are injured and you've got guys like Hippolyte, unfortunately, he went out today. How much do those backups know and can they take control? They're essentially the quarterback of the defense that's got to be calling out the front, the coverage, the blitzes. So who's getting everybody lined up? I think that's really going to be a key question moving forward, determining on how long those linebackers are going to be out, especially the veterans.
All right, we need to take our first break here on After the Whistle. Coming up, we've got our favorite segment, right? Who's your dog? And we'll also talk about the Bears facing the Super Bowl defending champs, the Eagles. Short week for them on Black Friday. Stay with us.
hype about a lot, if we're being real. I mean, DeAndre Swift, dog. Caleb Williams, dog. Can I get a Ben Johnson, dog?
We've got C.J. Gardner-Johnson,
Dog.
and Caleb Williams,
Dog.
I'd like to add one more on top of that. Jake Moody,
Dog.
Is this thing catching on? We got a sign out there that says, "Oh, Doomsday is my dog." I like it. I like it. All right, back here on After the Whistle, Tina Nguyen, Pat the designer from ESPN, former Bears QB Jim Miller, hanging out with you here. Bears beat the Steelers. They've now won 4 straight. 31-28 is your final score. The Bears are 8-3 on the season. How about that? All right, time now for Who's Your Dog? Jim, I'm going to start with you. Who is your dog of the day?
I'm going to go with the backup linebackers, DeMarco Jackson. If you go look at his total tackles, I believe he was in on a total of 15 tackles, 5 solo. And I'll also go with Amen OG. He is my dog because both those guys, as backup linebackers, played very well. So give it to the backups. They're my dogs today.
We got some dogs on this team. Pat, who's your dog?
Well, first off, big shout out to Carl Jones Jr., who got that game week check this week. You know, called up off the practice squad getting a game week check. Enjoy that, brother. My dog this week, I think you got to go Montez Sweat.
Okay.
He has been an absolute dog on the defensive end over the last couple of weeks. I think now 5 sacks in 6 games, at least one in every single game. I love the energy that I'm seeing from him. I know it's not, the consistency on the entire defensive line that we would like, but what you're getting out of Montez Sweat right now is truly impressive, and he's giving you the sack numbers that you hoped he was going to give you when you paid him to stay here.
All right. I'm going to stay on the defense, and I'm going to say Nashawn Wright. Back-to-back weeks with an interception. I mean, again, when the Bears signed him back in April, right? Not even projected to be a starter here. 5 interceptions on the season. That ties KB. Kevin Byard, man, he is my dog of the day there. By the way, DK Metcalf, you got Moss. Okay, let's talk about the Bears' upcoming schedule.
Can we do that? Is
here.
that copyright infringement? Can we get away with that?
Sorry if it is. All right, let's talk about the Bears' upcoming schedule here as we can maybe show you the graphic, because you look at 6 games left in the season, right? Short week, they do take on the Eagles, and then 3 divisional matchups left. We'll play the Packers twice and the Lions there at the end. But, I mean, you look at who they face next. I mean, on Friday, Black Friday here, the Eagles. You look at this defense, man. Eagles defense, they're scary, Pat.
No, 100%. This is the one game. I've gone into a lot of these games here after seeing Ben Johnson. I'm just like, listen, I'm confident that he's going to find a way to get something done. At a certain point, the talent has to even out, and this is an Eagles offense that has a ton of studs on it. If Jalen Hurts can get him the football, which it seems like he probably will be able to get some of that done there. And this is also a defense that, I mean, is literally stopping teams from scoring the ball left and right. Now, they are going up against Dallas today. We'll see if maybe Dallas can put some points up, maybe expose some things in that defense and give you some opportunity there. But the one thing that I do feel confident going into this Eagles game with is the trenches. You've got a unit in the trenches now that I'm not sitting there looking at. Yes, I know all the dogs they have on the other side of that Eagles defensive line, but we got some monsters here on the offensive side as well. And I really love how they've built this offensive line and paired this up together. When you got a good O-line, that gives you a chance to get things done offensively.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this Eagles defense, right? Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jalen Phillips, Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
Jim, what concerns you about this matchup?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be high scoring because I don't think the Eagles are scoring a lot of points either. Plus, they're missing a couple key components on their offense. Lane Johnson, they've had issues on their interior offensive line. They're struggling to score points. They're not very creative offensively, but they're counting on their defense, that the defense is going to keep them in games and they'll win a grinder. That's what they're hoping to do right now. And then they caught fire in the postseason last year. This should be a very good game. It's a good test. I think it's kind of a measuring stick game, so to speak, and I think it will. It'll talk about a team's toughness and how tough the Bears are. Typically, back in Detroit, Ben Johnson got in high-scoring games with Philadelphia, but Philadelphia, that's not how they're playing right now. They're not really letting it go offensively, so I expect this game on Black Friday to be a grinder.
Want to read another viewer comment here. If we beat the Eagles, do you think we run the board? I mean, there are not many teams left on our schedule, and I think they are better than Philly.
Listen, I love the mindset that this Bears team has. Go 1-0 every week. You can get beat any week, right? You think the Steelers are shocked today that they got beat by a Bears team with no linebacker unit on a day where Mason Rudolph was kind of efficient with the football. Like, you can get beat any day in this league. So to me, it truly is just about going 1-0. Do I think that, if you find a way to beat Philly, that's an incredible confidence booster, especially with divisional games coming up? 110%. I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but to me, I think divisional games are completely different. When you're going up against the Green Bay Packers, what you're doing versus Philly doesn't mean anything to me because they're going to bring a different energy, and it feels like this year the Bears are going to bring a different energy. When you're playing against Detroit, we know that kind of mindset. Ben Johnson left us, and now he's taking his offense down here, and they're putting up all the points. We know how Detroit is going to come at the end of that season. So to me, I don't think that you can take anything from one win or loss and say it's going to mean something for the divisional games. You saw how poorly J.J. McCarthy played today, and yet that still was a game where it was close to being competitive. We saw what he was able to do versus us last week. So when you get in those kind of games, it changes the intensity, and I don't look at it and say that you can take, hey, we beat the Eagles, so we should beat this team.
Want to remind everyone that is watching, especially on YouTube, keep your comments coming. We see them, and we will continue to read them throughout the show. We need to take another break here on After the Whistle. Coming up next, we will hear from Bears head coach Ben Johnson.
I've lost 12 years off my life. All these stressful games can't take much more. But the Bears, they keep coming true. And they're now in first place too.
All right, you just heard there from Bears superfan Dave Swirsky. He was kind enough to join us on our Bears Game Day live show this morning. He's got quite the following, man. You bring out a guitar, and people just rally around you out there.
Dave has had some songs that have gotten us through some tough times. So big shout out to Dave. I've been following him on social media and on his YouTube page for a little while now. Like, when you have a bad week, when you have a week where you blow, a game by not playing up on 15 yards and they go down and throw a Fail Mary on you, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you need a Swirsky song to get through it. So big shout out to Dave.
Yeah, and a lot happier songs this year.
Happier song, much happier songs
this year. Speaking of being happy, let's hear from Bears head coach Ben Johnson after their 31-28 win over the Steelers.
Really proud of the guys. Thought they did a phenomenal job just responding. I knew we were decimated in certain areas, and yet it's easy the easy thing is to say, woe is me, and our guys didn't do that. They just stepped up and kept battling through. It happens to most teams each season too, where your depth gets tested, and it just so happens it was this week for us. And so, can't say enough good things about the linebackers that stepped up in that game. D-Jack was our starting Mike, and he called that game. He was the green dot, and I thought he did a great job. We thought Ruben was going to be our will linebacker, and he goes down with the injury early in the game, and Eamon comes in, and he doesn't miss a beat. For a guy that really hasn't played a whole lot of football this year. So that was so encouraging to see. McLeod takes Tyreek's spot on the outside, and he's out there competing just like he has all year long. On the offensive side, we got, Theo's down, and Ozzie steps up at left tackle, and then Jonah goes down for a little bit, and Luke Newman gets thrown in there at guard. And so that was the type of game it was. And I just think that's the type of guys that we have, the caliber of people that we have. They just keep fighting away and keep plugging away. So it was great to get number 8, and they'll enjoy it here tonight, and tomorrow we'll be in the building on a short week getting ready for the next game. So go ahead and open up from there.
With that injury, with all the injuries that are happening to your team, it seems natural for someone to have low morale after that. What is your message, or what is your message to your team to fight through all of that?
Well, this is every team. This is the NFL. So this is what happens when you play a 17-game season. And it just so happened, back half of the season's when it caught up to us a little bit. And, we'll get some of the reinforcements back at some point. But until then, we got to hold down the fort, and so that's what we'll do. And these guys are going to go out and compete. This is what we've been practicing for, what we've been training for all along. The coaching staff has known this. All of our practice squad players, they know it's highly likely that they'll get called upon at some point. And it's just I can't say enough good things about the guys that stepped up today to help us win that ball game.
And what did you make of Killen's performance?
Once again, I got to go look at that tape, but. 31 points on offense, and that's always a good thing when you get over 30. So, from my perspective, we probably had a couple that we let get away from us, but that's I don't know many quarterbacks that do play a perfect game.
You're at 3rd and 8, you take the delay. What happened?
We just didn't get it off in time, and in the fourth quarter, those guys know I'm not going to call my timeouts because we're going to need those later on.
Let's talk about complementary football. I think the offense scored touchdowns both times after the takeaways. What impressed you about that?
Say it again.
The defense got the takeaways, and the offense turned them into touchdowns.
Yeah, it's something that we'd love to do. I mean, we've had so many takeaways this year. Our defense just, is part of their calling card. And so we've done a solid job of capitalizing on that. I think we're 2nd in the league in points off turnovers. And so we really needed that there today. You certainly felt it, with Shawnee's interception there on the sideline. The whole sideline kind of ignited, gave us a spark, and offense was able to capitalize on that and score our first touchdown of the game. So it's good to see that complementary football, and we're going to need more of that here going forward.
And what's it like on the sideline and maybe during the week, just kind of keeping track of all the guys who are down, and and kind of what does it say about DA about kind of how everything came together today? Yeah, no, I think you can't understate the importance of these guys. I'm talking about the coaching staff. That's all 3 phases. They do a phenomenal job of piecing this thing together. We meet early in the week and we kind of forecast how we think it's going to go, and then the week of practice kind of dictates who's going to be up and who's going to be down to a degree. But each week's a little bit different story, and like I said, you got different guys stepping up and answering that bell, and that's why the week of preparation is so important for us too. These young players, they get a chance to instill confidence in the coaching staff and find a role and a niche when there's an opportunity available. So it was good.
Well, a next man up mentality, no doubt about that, back here on After the Whistle. Tina, Pat, Jim, I want to ask you, what stood out to you there from Ben Johnson's post-game press conference?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about young players being prepared to step in and play, whether it's Luke Newman, who we've mentioned, whether it's Ozzie Trapillo, that's a young draft pick. That's no small feat to be thrown in at left tackle, and what he had to do today, Or I'd say the linebackers. You know, the Steelers are known for being a brute and how they want to run the football. They're probably not as potent as what they used to be running the football with what they have now. But those linebackers had to step in and make the calls. Like even coach, what we just talked about, Jackson made the calls today. That says a lot to me as a former, longtime player, that they trusted him to make all the defensive calls that Dennis Allen was calling in and for him to make the adjustments. So it talks about preparation. And like he said, the coaching staff gets together early. They're forecasting how it's going to shake out, who's up, who's down, whoever it is, let's get them prepared. Well, they were prepared today.
Speaking of being prepared, Kevin Byard, always prepared. Let's listen in on what he had to say in the locker room.
DJ got the game ball into the game. I think he had like 15 tackles. He played his behind off. But we obviously had some other injuries out there today, and other guys was able to step up and make big plays. So this is a team win. Whenever we struggled a little bit, the offense had our back, and it was vice versa. So it's been a story this year. You know what I mean? Playing 60 minutes, winning those close games. So just super happy of the effort of the guys today.
How did you think DA adjusted to missing some of these starters on defense? What do you call for you guys?
Yeah, obviously we had a lot more DBs out there, the able bodies that we had, and like I said, I think it was pretty good. There's always things we can be better at, but I'm just proud of the guys being able to finish those last 2 drives on defense, getting the 3 or 9 I think before, and then obviously getting the stop at the end of the game. So just super happy the way we were able to finish this time around.
What about the halftime adjustment? It seems like they're killing you with the horizontal game earlier,
yeah.
And then after the half, they didn't do a whole lot on offense.
Yeah, honestly, we didn't start the game off well at all. It was a lot of missed space tackles, myself included. Just wasn't proud of that effort on the first drive. But I think we just kind of understood that, hey, they weren't going to let the offense lose the game in a way. You know what I mean? It was just a lot of dink and duck, screens, things to the perimeter, and it was just a lot of run game. So that was just basically just understanding what they were going to do and just playing more aggressive football.
Kevin, how proud are you? You guys are winning all these close games. That means something.
Culture, you know what I mean? We've been faced with a lot of adversity all year, whether it's injuries, close games, just a lot of different scenarios, and I think we're able just to fight through that and not really get down on the sidelines, not getting too high, not getting too low. So like I said, just proud of this group, man, because like I said, the other side of it last year was not pretty, and we're able to come on the other side, so just happy about it.
You just heard there from the vet, Kevin Byard, 5 interceptions on the season. What do you make of his comments post-game, Pat?
Listen, I'm gonna say this right now. Can I get my one shot? Can I get my one? I never do
absolutely.
this.
Let's go.
I never do this. I never do this. And normally I'm up here. I'm very.
You need a light?
I'm very Pat the designer. Let me be Bears fan Pat here for a second. To everybody that's hating, what y'all gonna say now? What can you say now? They have beaten a good football team. When we went up against the Commanders and, there's no way you can beat an elite team and Jaden Daniels we beat them. There's no way you can outscore the Dallas Cowboys. We did that. You can't beat a team that's got a winning record. We just did that. With half of the team dead. The culture is different. What are y'all going to say now? What's the conversation this coming week that devalues this Chicago Bears win? Bears fans, stop letting people make you feel bad about your team being 8-3. You got a dominant football team out here right now, and they're finding ways to win no matter what. They got nothing left to say now.
A culture change, no doubt about that. And that is what we call, Pat, a mic drop from you. A mic drop moment there. Jim, what do you make of the comments from Kevin Byard?
Well, yeah, I do. I just think you get a sense of energy that everything is new. Things are different here. Because, again, what Pat's alluding to, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, this Bears team, they're not responsible for the sins of the past. They're writing their own history. They're writing the history of 2025. So forgive them for the sins of the past because they don't care. They're not responsible for it, so don't put it on this group. They've got their own plans.
Times are certainly changing here in Chicago. I want to get one last viewer comment in here. If we lose to the Eagles, can we recover on the rest of our schedule to pull off a 13-4 season as well as remain in the playoff picture? Pat?
Listen, if we lose to the Eagles, can we recover? Of course they can. I don't know how far it's going to take it, but you lost to the Ravens, you lost to the Lions, you got your head kicked in by the Lions, and you found ways to respond to it. That's what I love about this team. Even in game, the big picture of the season is exactly what we see in game. You lost today when T.J. Watt gets the strip sack in the end zone. You lost when DeAndre Swift fumbles. Guess what? You found a way to bounce back from that. That, to me, is the culture of this team right now, and you can never count this team out. You can never say that this team is out of a game. Like, you're going to have to do them like the Lions did for them to be out of a game. And by the way, I don't think they're going to let you do that too much anymore.
There's certainly belief on this team, and got to give a ton of credit there to Ben Johnson and the culture and the standard he has instilled with this franchise. And on that note, that will do it for us here on After the Whistle. Tina Nguyen, Pat the Designer, former Bears QB Jim Miller. Short week for them, but tomorrow is Victory Monday.